All right, today is bowel nosode. I wanted to do an extra one. I wanted to get this in my community and that, but yeah, he starts out. Now this is I've had this book and I went through it one time already. That's what all the dark. Where's the dark marks? I got a lot of dark marks in there. That was the last time I went through it. Just picking out the different main topics, and that's what I'm going to do today. But he starts out with this book that was from the what is it? The British Homeopathic Journal of July 1950. So this guy's. Let me get the full screen in here. Oh, that is the full screen, man. They got all kinds of stuff. Let's get rid of this and see. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Facebook changed things, trying to make you think and work. I probably should have fixed myself up a little bit today, huh? Anyways, the British Homeopathic Journal of 1950, volume, what is that? XL is 50, number 3. So he starts out, he says Louis Pasteur, he discovered the specific germs and viruses that, you know, hurt people. And how did he discovered that by, what was it, the old milk maids. They were, when they, I guess the ladies milked the cows, men were too lazy. The ladies that were milking cows, when I think it was smallpox came around, they didn't get it. So he's like, that's interesting. So that's why I say, from Louis Pasteur, Hahnemann, all these people, they observe things and say, huh. Even the local people observe that, oh, when this person's eating this plant, and they're not getting this sickness that comes around, whatever it is, they just then that's what we need to be is observant. So Louis observed that those milkmaids did not get smallpox, I think it was. So he took that and actually basically came up with a vaccine. He isolated it, identified it, and he, made the vaccines out of it. And that was just a bacteria that he was using. That was, so in our intestinal flora, though, he talks about we have that B. coli. B. coli is non pathogenic in a healthy biome. If you could, like I said yesterday, if you could look at your skin and with a microscope and see all the germs running around on you and freak you out. Now, we are a bag of germs. I mean, there's just bugs everywhere in us, and especially our biome. The biome, we think. So I eat. Now I've eaten. I've been eating berries off the trees, and there's a lot of I guess bacteria out there. They said he even says here that where there was no stoles to be there they found B. coli in the grasses. So it's everywhere out there. If you come home and cook something, I don't think you're getting it. Even though you picked it from the woods. Like I'm having mushrooms and that today from the woods. Now, onions and garlic and things like that are very good for your biome. Plus, you want to take some, and I do, fermenting stuff like trying to think of it kombucha and what's that other one, sauerkraut and kimchi and yogurt. You don't want yogurt with all that sugar in it because see that's another thing in our biome we've created something that's a monster and that's the one that says feed me sugar. you know you wonder why, man. I got this craving for sugar, and you wonder why. It's some little bacteria saying, feed me, feed me. You're giving it salad, and then it's like, nah, I don't want that. I want some sugar, man. So that's, and we've just trained our bodies on it because it's in everything. And we have super sugars, which are high fructose corn syrup. Worst thing for you, puts holes in your guts, all kinds of stuff. I avoid that stuff like the plague. But anyways, he's doing it. So this John Patterson, he's an MB, CHB, DPH, FFHO, FFHOM. I don't know what all that stuff is, but he got a lot of degrees behind him. So he's doing experiments. Now he's in a clinic undoubtedly. I don't know if this must be in Europe in the 1950s. So he's doing experiments and he's testing people's stools. So he says in 1936, I presented a paper to the British Homeopathic Society which was published in the journal of April 1936. Oh, it was 1936, under the title of the potentized drug and its action on the bowel flora. Dang, I should have wrote that down. And it dealt with the clinical and bacteriological observation of 12,000 cases. Here's a brief summary. So the non-lactose fermenting bacilli were isolated in 25% of the stool specimens examined. So he was taking 25% of the 12,000, I guess. The appearance of non-lactose fermenting bacilli often followed and seemed to bear relationship to the previously administered homeopathic remedy, the choice of the remedy being made according to the law of similars and prepared by potentization. So he's not working with healthy people, he's working with sick people. So he's given it, and basically here's what's going on. The B. coli, when he gets a person that's normal and healthy, he knows the B. coli is in there, but it's non-pathogenic, right? Yeah, in a healthy biome. I have to make sure I'm rolling. But you change, the host changes, then it becomes pathogenic. So if the host changes by being sick or whatever's going on with them, it can be a stress, stress with ulcers. That's one of these bacteria, what are they? Bowel nosode. I couldn't think of it. Sorry. One of these bowel nosodes. So bacillus, the host changes and it becomes pathogenic. Why does it do that? The bacillus or the bacteria changes to survive. Yeah, man, that little bug bit me. He was the tiniest little thing. I gotta take some more. Look at that. I gotta take some more Leadum. And then just in case, I don't think that was a tick. It was small though, but I'm going to be taking some of the tick medicine that I have, which is, because this summer season's coming up, which is Gertner 10M. That's one of the bacteria that come from tick bites. And this one, I don't know if I got it up very good, is Borrelium. I don't know why it doesn't show up. Anyways, those two are the actual disease that the tick puts in you. So that's what we're talking about today is this bug bites me, this bacteria gets in me. Now that can be, bowels are different, that bacteria is in me. So then I need something to match what that bacteria does to me, whether it's fatigue or sickness or skin stuff or chills or whatever the what else is there with ticks? Anyways, I'm not getting into ticks today, but that's another, like a bacteria that goes in you from other things. So we're all running around cleaning and, you need to get, why do you think kids go out and they eat dirt? Because their bacteria is off. They want to get some of that bacteria. You would need to eat some stuff right off the vine, right out of the, off the tree, out of the woods, whatever, that will get you the bacteria you need. Even if you take it home and you cook it, a lot of times you're just killing it. So, but the change of the host turns that B. coli pathogenic. The bacillus changes to survive. So that bacteria is like, oh yeah, watch this. I'm going to change and I'm going to make you sick. So the remedy given, the host changes and feels well. So now you got this sick person, and you're going off the law of similars, whatever medicine, lycopodium, whatever one it is, you're going off to what you're seeing, what you're observing from this person, their symptoms, and you give that remedy, and it changes the host. Now they feel well, right? And he says in the stools, 10 to 14 days later, the stool had a typhoid-like germ in it. So it was, and that's the whole idea with the body. It wants to get things out. Stools, nose, vagina, eyes, sweat, ears, penis, wherever it's coming out of, skin. Body's like, there's something bad in here, man. I'm getting it out of us one way or another. So the vital force produces, now the vital force is that inner man, that part of you that unconsciously causes your heart to beat, takes care of you, sends out white blood cells, sends out adrenaline, cortisol to get that, when that lion's chasing you. The problem is we're all under cortisol so much that we cause ourselves, our gut biome to change and turn bad, and we get sick and all that good stuff. But what he's saying is the vital force produce symptoms and cause the disease symptom picture. So it's the symptom picture, and that's the whole idea with homeopathy. As I read through the organon too, it talks about the organism, the whole organism. The vital force is the thing that takes care of everything in the body. So he he likens well, yeah, he likens it to our inner man, basically. He's talking about this force of when it leaves, this body's no good anymore. Your bones ain't strong and holding you up. It's your vital force. The bones are strong, but the vital force is what holds you up. You get sick and you get fatigued and you get vertigo, you fall down. So the vital force is letting you know through symptoms, a picture, and that's what we want. We want a whole picture of a person, from what they look like, from what they're, what's coming out of them, what's the worst problem, what's going on with your life, how are you mentally, spiritually, how are you spiritually? Are you at peace? Are you aggravated all the time? Are you, all these kind of things come into play with picking a medicine, because you might go in and try and hit the center of the case, the center of gravity, they call it. You're trying to hit that, and when you go in to hit that, if you are off by something, you're not trying, you're looking for what's really the problem. They're saying I got a backache. Is that from PMS? Is that from lifting something? Where does that come from? You need the etiology. Where did it happen? When did it start? All kinds of things like that. I think Sid was on, from the Penguins was on, and I said, dude, you guys need to take some homeopathic arnica and get some nat sulf. I said, I met him when I was at Mario's. I said, I was the marble guy at Mario's. I said, you need to get this stuff in you for them concussions. So we'll see what he does. But yeah, so we're taking a full symptom picture, and that's so important. That's so important, But the stool's putting out that typhoid germ means that when the host changes, the B. coli changes and becomes pathogenic, and now the vital force is fighting it, and that's the symptom picture you see, and you give a medicine accordingly. So what he does is he lists the bowel nosodes with related homeopathic medicines. How did he figure that out? Well, I guess as he was giving medicines to people, he would, also checking their stools, and when he checked their stools, they would have a certain bacteria in there, and there's a bunch of weird names. Bach and Patterson were discovering these things, I guess, and then he was confirming and using medicines and matching the medicines that go with it. So the keynote of Bach Morgan, this is one of the nosodes, and there's, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 bowel nosodes. So the keynote of Morgan Bach is congestion. So congestion of the head, nose, the head, the liver, the heart, congestion. It doesn't have to be like mucus coming out of there. It can be your liver's congested, your bowels are congested, so any kind of congestion. And circulation. And with the circulation, that's varicose veins and what's the other thing? Something else with the veins. But anyways, a lot of veins. And that makes sense, because the veins is what transports the blood, and if it gets to be congested, then there can be a problem. So the medicines related to that is sulfur, graphites, petroleum, and serinum. Those are the main ones. There's a bunch of other ones that he got categorized in there. Let me see. Where is that thing? So he's got a lot of them. I don't know if this will come up. Yeah, he's got a lot of them in there. This is just one of them. There's the other one, the other one. So there's a lot of remedies in there, but these are the ones he's saying that mainly, kind of like a, what do they call that? A polycrest remedy, and most of these are, yeah. And those polycrest, they take care of a lot of situations. So those are the ones that are matched to Morgan Bach. Okay, so when they would give Morgan Bach, or give one of these remedies, this is the one that would come out. Morgan Pure, this one's by Patterson. These are the two doctors Bach flower remedies. I don't know if you ever, experienced them, but skin eruptions, any kind of skin eruptions, and liver and gallstone stuff. So sulfur, again, metarhinum and serinum. And you're going to see a lot of these are major polycrests. These three especially, metarhinum, sulfur, serinum, uh, and the miasm's a whole nother thing. They're what's a skin miasm called? Anyways, Morgan Gertner from Patterson, skin and liver inflammation. So there's inflammation on the skin, in the liver. They got renal colic, calculus, which is a stone. Renal colic is kidney dysfunction, so their kidney's not working. Imagine their urine's not working well, and a stone, calculus stone. Now this guy said in his thing that everybody once in life, from young baby on, should take that. I say, we all laugh about animals sniffing the butts of people or sniffing the butts of dogs and the other dogs and that, but they're getting actually some stuff. When a baby comes out, where are they? They're right by the anus. They get that their whiff of these bowel nosodes from the mother. This is the stuff I read, so I can't say I've ever, I have studied that or anything, but these are the things they're saying. And that's a good thing, is to get those bacteria in you so you're used to it and you can, fight it, instead of, Lysol everywhere and clean this and spray the plants out there to kill all the weeds that are like dandelions are good for you. I got to kill all the dandelions. Why don't you eat them? It'll probably help you. and as I walk, when I know it's not sprayed, I pick them up and I eat them. I eat the flowers a lot of times. And that's basically, there's bacteria on that. That's why my folks would say, you can't eat that off out of the tree and that. Yeah, right. That's what grandma had me doing when I was young. We went picking berries, buddy. I appreciated her doing that. Proteus Bach is peripheral nervous system. So all your outer nerves, sudden and violent brainstorm, nerve strain, epilepsy, all that kind of stuff with the nerves, convulsions, and anyone have a nerve strain, that's where, you're all upset about whatever you need, you want to have. Buddha says, our problem is our desires. That's what is killing us and aggravating us. But nerve strain, before a test, or they said people in the army, after that thing, that nerve strain, that's what they're calling PTSD. That nerve strain really messes them up. And I guarantee you some of these homeopathic remedies would help them overcome this stuff. But they have a brainstorm. The brain goes crazy, and that's where the epileptic stuff comes in. Proteus would be one of them. Nat myrrh, cupromed, and apis, which is bee venom, or the bee, the honeybee. But cupromed is what the heck is that one, man? That's one out of metals, I think. And nat myrrh is salt. So those ones are related to that when you have nerve stuff going on and you're afraid. And I don't doubt a lot of these. Now, everybody's different, so this is just a basic overview of bowel nosodes related to which remedy. So you give a remedy to somebody and you're thinking, man, it stops working, it ain't going. What do I do? Okay, here's what I do. I gotta hit them with this, or you give them one of these remedies that is like it gets the case started again. So in other words, he always says, keep it moving, keep the case moving, and when it stops moving, you go up a higher dose and it's not working. Go lower, it's not working. You're sitting there. I know this is the right remedy, but it's not working. Why? Hit them with a bowel nosode, or one of these remedies. You come in and hit them with like a sulfur, and that, whatever it does, it breaks it up and gets that case moving again. Now you give that remedy at the same dose you was, and it keeps going. So whatever's stopping that, a miasm, a thing going on there. But now bacillus, number 7. The keynote is mental and physical fatigue. So that sounds like gelsemium. Is that in there? They don't even have gelsemium there. Mental and physical fatigue, malignancy, emaciation. So they're losing weight. They could have cancer type of stuff going on, but their mental and physical fatigue is shot. They have phosphorus, silica, and Merton Viv for those for that one. That bacillus Number 7, that is the keynote, the mental and physical. I don't know why gelsemium, but gelsemium is probably, let me see, it's probably in here. Bacillus number 7. No, they don't have gelsemium. That is quite interesting. Why that didn't relate to it. I guess when he gave that if he gave gelsemium, it wasn't pushing out the bacillus. Okay, disco. Oh, disc, period, co. And then you got psychotic co. I know these words all sound weird, but these are just the bacteria that they got the name because they discovered them and brought them to the forefront. And now this guy's experimenting, seeing, oh, this remedy, I give this remedy, and now this comes out of them in their stool. Keynote, nervous tension. So they're just always nervous. Mental, fidgeting. So mentally, it's not so much they gotta move and they're kicking their foot, and that's a different type of person. But this person, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta go here. Oh, and they can't sit still and be calm. They got face tics. The face is twitching. Times. Arsenicum, argentinite, and calmia. Those are the 3 for that disc period co. Now, psychotic co. I would love to have gotten into why they named these things, but he doesn't say nothing about that. This is more just the experimental stuff. Keynote, irritability. There should be nux vomica here and that, but it's not. Mucus and synovial membranes. So the bursae of the knees and the joints and that, and the mucous membranes of the nose and that, but they have irritability. And this one's a psychotic miasm from gonorrhea. Now, you don't have to have had gonorrhea, but it could be in your history. One of your relatives could have had something like that, and you probably will never know about that. But that set up a miasm and cause you to have certain symptoms. And when you have those symptoms, a lot of times that's what the miasm is. Now, you give a remedy, like, what are the remedies? Okay, so this is sinus membranes and the bursae of the synovial joints. You got Helleborus, Meterinum, Ferrum metallicum, Basilinum, and Rus tox. So you got those ones that are in there for the sinus infection and all this other stuff going on. You could just give that. If you have someone that has bad sinus infections, that could clear up their gut biome, repair it to where that sinus stuff goes away. I know someone I might try that with. So this one's the sinus. Well, that's cool. Psychotic co. I should give that to him. Anyways, mutable. That's another one by Bach. Skin symptoms alternate with asthma. Now that's a big, interesting point because a lot of people in the past of their life had skin stuff, and then took care of it on the surface. Whether whatever, or you took a drug that basically cleared it up, or you took you put something on the surface and pushed that back in, because that was the body trying to push off whatever it was allergic to. Now, you push that back in, and this person has asthma. So you give them, they come into you, or they say you give them a homeopathic remedy, basically. And what happens is the asthma gets cleared up, and then when the asthma gets cleared up, the skin symptoms come back. Then you work on the skin symptoms, push them out. Now the person doesn't have asthma or the skin situation going on. But this one is changeable symptoms, and I thought there would be pulsatilla there. Pulsatilla is just changeable symptoms. That's the only big one they had with that. So anyways, yeah, pulsatilla, they could have oh, my knee hurts, now my shoulder hurts, oh, my neck hurts, and it just keeps changing. They're cold, they're chilly, oh, I'm so chilly, and then now they're, oh man, I'm so hot. So everything's changeable with the pulsatilla patient. They want to be out in open air, stuff like that, and that corresponds to the asthma. They need to get out. I need to get some oxygen, man. I ain't getting it. This one is phasalis. I guess that's the way you say it. But sepia and Morgan. Oh, sepia is the one for that. That's all they have. And sepia, the person's weepy, or no. Anyways, that's all it is. Facilis is sepia. There wasn't much there for that one. That was a small one. Morgan, sulfur, carbon, lycopodium, lachesis, proteus. Oh, okay. So those are remedies that match to that. What was the symptomology? Let's see. Facilis. Where the heck are you? Sorry, I thought I'd be a little better prepared. I was down cooking this morning. Bacillus is mutable. Oh, Gertner. There it is. Bacillus number 7, bromine and iodine. Those two are with Bacillus number 7 too. Okay, Gartner. Sorry, don't want Gartner. Oh, those are the N ones. Facilis, there it is. I have never found a nosode made of the bin. Okay, sepia is the only thing he has. He doesn't have a keynote. I found organisms in the stool, the clinical symptoms. Okay, mutable Bach, is that what I wanted? Yeah. Mutable, the pulsatilla, alterations of symptoms. Okay, skin eruptions alternate with asthmatic symptoms. So that's, yeah, basically all there was. And then Gertner, these ones just don't have much in them. Gertner and Facilis. Where's the Gertner? Gertner is silicia and all that, and it says Gertner is good for, what is it good for? Sorry, biochemical substances. Okay, so anyways, those ones, I don't know. There's silica, phosphorus, uh, fluorine is Merc Viv. So those are just different smaller ones that I don't know. I'm not going to get deep into here. So no nosodes, great for chronic cases. That seems resistant to treatment. Nosodes are great for, sorry, nosodes are great for chronic case that seems resistant. And that's what I was talking about. It's not working. It's not. I noticed the medicine. I know, one of these might break the case open and start it to you. So you give a dose and go back to the remedy, maybe give a dose on a Monday. Next Monday, start it again. So, but you don't let the person suffer. If they need it right away, you get it right away. Old case. So when you have an old case, they had it's tough because they've had drugs, they've had skin stuff put on, they've had all kinds of things, treatments from allopathic stuff, which sets up a whole nother picture and makes a case. So sometimes you got to go with a what do they call them, tautopathic? I think it's a tautopathic. I think that's drugs. Anyways, might have to get one of whatever drug they were on and give that to them. So to help them to get over whatever harm that drug did to them. I gotta get down there to my food, make sure it don't burn. Gotta pour my eggs in, and I got peppers and onions, and I didn't have garlic. I didn't get none from the woods either. Peppers are ginger, fresh ginger, and something else. Oh, mushrooms. All the mushrooms I picked from the week. So then I got to throw my eggs in and cook it up. Okay, so a low dose of this could get it moving. So you give a low dose of one of these. It's not reacting to treatment. So you got, what's going on? You can give a sulfur, you can give a meterinum, you can give a serinum, you can calcar, any one of these big polycrest, you give that could break it open. But he's saying here that you can get one of these, Morgan Pure, Morgan Gertner, Proteus, Bacillus number 7, Disco, Psychotico, Mutable, Facilis. What's the other one? Morgan. Let's see. These were extra notes I had on Morgan. I shouldn't even have put that in there. I try to get too much in there. But anyways, Gertner, all these ones you want to get, you could try them to get this case to open up. And it would match, like, okay, I'm giving sepia, it's not working. I give facilis, that could break the case open and cause this person to start responding to sepia. So I'm giving sepia and notice the remedy, it's not working. What's going on? Give facilis and it breaks the case open. So, but in a chronic case, and if you get a case, this one here over here was in an old case. In a new case, you may have to just give it to break it open. So he said, oh, here it is. A patient who has been under homeopathic treatment before, but who may not be responding to the treatment given. So that's what he's saying. It's not working. This guy's not able to get it. And you give him one of these that match the medicine they've been getting, and they will get, you'll break the case open, and then you start giving that medicine again, and, you'll be the hero. Ooh, that's amazing. How come that other guy couldn't do it? Well, homeopathic medicine sometimes can be tricky, but the key is The art is taking the case and getting to the center of the case, the root of it. You know, just like that Indian doctor, he had guy with cancer on the ear. He went after the stomach symptoms. What's the worst thing you want to get rid of? My stomach. Really? You got cancer on the ear. So he goes after the stomach symptoms, and the ear clears up with, I forget which medicine it was. But anyways, that is the bowel nosodes. Basically, and he has three principles basically. The organism is related to the disease. Okay, so the organism, when it becomes B. coli, becomes pathogenic, that it's related to disease. The organism is related to the homeopathic medicine. Like I said, sepia is related to physalis, and the homeopathic remedy related to the disease. So then you have the homeopathic remedy that has the same symptoms, like sepia would have the same relationship to the disease as the bowel nosode. So that's the key. You know, you could break it open, but he says everybody should take a bowel nosode, you know, according to your symptoms. You know, now if you're taking a certain medicine, it may not be bad to take a bowel nosode to get your biome all back together. You may see a world of difference. So, all right, that's more. Yeah, that's morning medicine again. Now it's 6 days. All right, I got to get to my food. You can age, but you don't have to get old. All right, I got to get this stuff over there.